Okay, so what is the process for buying a new house? A lot of people think, oh, I just find the house I like and go to the seller and I tell them I'll give them that amount of money and then I get the house, right? It's a bit more than that. It's actually quite a bit more than that. Let's just talk about it. When you are starting the home buying process, you need to evaluate your financial health. What is your budget looking like to you? Do you need to meet with a financial advisor? Do you feel like you have that in check? Maybe you do. It's kind of 50-50. You need to know your buying power. You need to get in touch with the lender, figure out your budget. What can you buy? It's important to know what your financial situation is, what your credit score is. All of those things will impact your buying capacity. So if you go to your lender, you give them all your information, they're going to look through your credit history, they're going to look through all your financials, debt to income ratio. They want to know all the things so they can tell you how much house you can buy. And it's important to know before you go start looking at homes so you don't fall in love with one and end up not being able to buy it. That's disappointing. Or what if you don't know that you can afford more house and you just have no idea? You've changed jobs a few times or lived in the same house forever. You have no clue. And maybe you could afford more house and you just don't know it yet. That's why it's so important to get in touch with the lender and figure out what your financial situation is. So I would figure out your buying power by getting in touch with a reputable lender. I know many. If you want any suggestions, please let me know. The discussion with your lender is to get you mortgage pre-approval. So that means you talk to a reputable lender and you get a mortgage pre-approval up to a certain amount, and you can get that pre-approval really quickly. I know people who can get it back to you in under 24 hours. And at that point, you can go into viewing a home knowing, hey, if I really love it, I can make an offer today. And that's power. That's a good thing. Benefits of getting pre-approved is the difference between, I fell in love with this house I saw today and I really want to buy it, but I'm not pre-approved, so now I have to find a lender and I have to apply for the loan and I have to wait for that turnaround time. And in the meantime, somebody else may make an offer on that house you love. But for those people that are pre-approved, when they go into viewing that home, they can make an offer that day. It's already done and it gives them the advantage. Okay. Now that we're pre-approved, now you can get on Zillow, you could get on MLS, you could get on homes.com. There's all these different search engines to find the house that you want. I would search for the amount of bedrooms you want, bathrooms, make it as detailed as you want so you can narrow it down and see some homes that generally would fit your needs. You need to identify your home preferences. Identify what neighborhood you want to be in. Do you need a certain school system? Do you want acreage? All those things come into play. Figuring out what you don't want can really help narrow down that search. And a realtor can help you too. Definitely get in touch with a realtor to help you out with that. They know what they're looking for. They do it every day. I'm also very happy to help in that department. Okay, let's say you found the house. You're pre-approved, you love it, your family loves it. It's time to make an offer. Hoping that you're working with an agent at this point, because this is when the paperwork and all the negotiation skills come into play. It's a really big deal. When you're making an offer on a home, it's so important to understand your current market conditions. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Is it somewhere in between? Now, 2020, threw us into an absolute seller's market. Houses were selling on the first weekend. Recently, we're seeing a little bit more waiting time. Now, granted, there's unicorns out there. It's all over the board a little bit, so it's still in the middle, but there is more waiting time. And it's important for you as a buyer to understand what your market looks like. On the flip side, if you are in a seller's market, it means that you as a buyer have a little bit more power. And it's important to get in touch with a real estate agent to talk about the market that you are buying in so that you know what that entails for you and your situation. Making a competitive offer is a really important part of home buying. You want your offer to be competitive. You want it to look the best out of any and all offers that seller may have gotten. That means that If you have any contingencies, your offer might not look as great as another offer that doesn't have any contingencies. If you don't have your home on the market, but you're trying to buy a new home and it's contingent on the sale of this home, that doesn't look like you're as serious as maybe another buyer might be that doesn't have that contingency. When you're thinking about what you want to offer as far as the purchase of a new home, definitely talk to a real estate agent about it. Make sure that you both feel good about the price point, whether you are coming in and offering full price, if you're offering, maybe less than full price, or you're willing to pay closing costs. There are some ways to balance out your offer to make it more competitive, and it's important to talk with an agent about how to help you do that. Okay, there was a time about 4 years ago, we all know 2020 seller's market, there were people who were waiving inspection contingencies. They did that in a way to make their offer look more enticing to the seller. And in a lot of cases, it did look more enticing to the seller because the sellers didn't have to worry about anything coming up that they didn't know about their home that they may or may not have to fix. I, as an agent, would never recommend waiving the inspection contingency. It is not a recommendation that I believe I will ever make. I think an inspection contingency is so important for a buyer because it gives you knowledge. It just gives you all of the knowledge that you're gonna need to know about this home that you wanna buy. For any of you first-time home buyers out there, when I'm talking about the inspection, I'm talking about you hiring a local licensed and or certified inspector to inspect the home that you want to buy. This means that it is something that you pay for. When I was a first-time home buyer, that is something I didn't know. It just isn't necessarily common knowledge for somebody that has never purchased a home before to know what you pay for and what you don't pay for. Anywhere from $500 to $1,000 depending on your market. Now granted, that is just a generalization. It is worth every penny, in my opinion, because if that inspector finds something that is going to cost you, $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 in the future, that's something that you want to know moving into purchasing that home or not. Having an inspection that comes back really positive, where it's just these little odds and ends, that is a good thing. That gives you so much peace of mind about the home that you're going to buy. Okay, you've made the offer on the home. Your offer has been accepted. You're excited. Your house is under contract. The inspection went great. Now we are on to appraisal. The home has to appraise if you are financing this home. So that means that your mortgage company needs to have the home appraised by a certified appraiser so that you and the mortgage company knows how much the home is worth and that you are not paying more than the home is worth. Does that make sense? Because the mortgage company is technically financing your home and then you're paying them back, they don't want to finance a home that's worth less than what they're going to pay for it. That's not a good investment for them. So that's why homes go through this appraisal process. Generally, appraisals reflect the market. So I would say generally that they appraise for slightly above the price that you're trying to pay, which is a positive thing. It means the market is working the way that it usually should. We're getting down to the end. You found the home, you figured out your buying power, you got a real estate agent, you made an offer, we got through inspection, we got through appraisal. The closing date is set. This is the home stretch, guys. So let's talk about closing the deal. On closing day, all parties go to a closing company's office. Generally, the buyer picks the closing company to use. A lot of real estate agents know some great closing companies. I would ask your real estate agent who they recommend you using. If you're in my area, I have some great closing companies that I can recommend. Closing day, you're all at the table. Essentially, it's a lot of paperwork for you to sign. Paperwork about your mortgage, your percentage rate, it's gonna be a transfer of deed, all the things that transfer that home from the seller to you. And you're all sitting at the closing table, and once all of that is signed, you're ready to go. You're a new homeowner. At that point, you get to leave the closing table with the keys to your new home, and you get to get over there and start planning what you want it to look like. How are you gonna make it your home? You're getting to decide the furniture, you get to decide the layout, the new paint color, whose room is gonna be whose. This is the fun part. Let's recap Home Buying 101. First, you figured out your buying power. You spoke to a lender, you got pre-approved. This means that you've looked over your budget, you figured out your buying power. What can you buy? You found the home, you've gotten in touch with a real estate agent, they've showed you, you wanna make an offer. You get through inspection, you get through appraisal, you get to closing day, and that's it. You're in a new home. I just wanna encourage you, if you are a serial renter and you've been renting for years and just waiting to get in the game, I'm telling you, you can buy your own home. You can own a home. It takes a couple of different people to talk to you to help you through that process. A good lender, a good real estate agent, we can help you get there. There are so many different ways to become a homeowner, and I would love to talk to you about them. Honestly, it is so much less scary than you think, I promise. I just encourage you to take the next step. Give me a call, give anyone on my team a call. We would love to help you. Good luck.